Okay, welcome to this tutorial for the Building Additions add-on. So in this one, we're going to be talking about the randomized fill and the gradient fill. So these are the only fills that we have in game right now. There might be some in the future, but here's what they do. So let's say you have this square, or really any selection, that you want to have some randomization in it. Let's say I want this to have some randomization between, like red, orange, and yellow or something. So the way that we're going to set this up is these randomizers have weights and values for the different blocks. So if we just do this, there will be an equal amount of possibility for each of these blocks to be used in the randomization. So let's just grab this so we can show this off. So if I randomize this, you can see they're fairly equal with how they're distributed. So instead, let's just replace this all back to one color. If I were to add a disproportionate amount of yellow, let's say 4, and then a little bit of orange, there should be less red, more orange, and even more yellow when we do it again. So you can see that is the case. So each of the slots in the top row of your inventory can be used to make a randomization or a gradient, and you can add however many you want to each of the different blocks. Of course, if you just do all of them the same amount, even if it's 64, it will be distributed evenly, right? So that is one way you can use it. I think the most common way people will use it is for things like paths or mud or like muddy areas. So like if we were to grab this space and then randomize fill, there you go. You get like a really dirty area. You get that mud, that sort of randomization that you may want. So that's the randomize. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the gradient. So let's say you have this plain wall, and I mean this is very plain because it's just a flat wall and it's stone bricks, but let's say you wanted to have a gradient from moss to bricks, right? So this is a little bit different than the randomizer. So what it's going to do is you'll just put them in the order that you want it to go in. If you say you want more stone bricks or you want to have more of one area compared to others, you can just add a second slot of that. So that's the way that you'll do it. So let's just try this out. So first, let's select the area we want to add the gradient to. And then the gradient is going to be in the direction that you're looking. So it'll be left to right, which will be closest to you to furthest. So this will be closest, that's furthest. So if I am facing up, the closest should be the moss and the furthest away should be the stone. So you can see you have randomness. So with this, if you have your randomness set to 0, you get flat shading. You get very hard lines in your shading. So you may not want that. I mean, clearly you're trying to use gradients, and so that's not quite what you'd want. But I'm also noticing that I may want more, stone up here at the top, so I'll just add another slot for that. So let's reset this whole thing, and then we're going to do gradient again, and then we're going to do 1.2, or let's just do 1. We'll do that, and then there you go. Now you get more of that randomization, you'll also notice that the higher the randomness, the more noisy it gets. So let's add 2 of those and then 2 of those. These will, I mean, they'll all distribute evenly along the whole area. But do that, we'll do a randomness of, let's say, 0.8. There you go. So then it's a lot less noisy, but to show you what it looks like when it's like the most noisy, you get this. So you may want something more like this. Maybe you want to use it to show like, you know, make it look more overgrown, or like there are bigger splotches or whatever. But you'll also notice that the things that should be closer to the top are now here at the bottom, right? You got your stone bricks down here at the bottom, where, you know, ordinarily they would be up at the top. That just comes with the randomization. The reason you'd want a high randomization would be for large buildings or walls that you're trying to gradient. So like with this one, if I do, you know, 1 like I did before, you may see harder lines than you want. So you may want to switch it out for something like 2 or something. And then you can see it's a lot more mixed, and then from a further distance, it may blend better. Another thing to know is that this is block dependent, just like the replace functions. So if I wanted to just do the bricks here, let's say we'll do bricks, and then we'll do that and that. Yeah, not a great gradient, but we're gonna work with it. So I could just do the bricks here. I'll do a randomness of 1.4 and stack. And you can see it doesn't mess with any of the other blocks in the area, just the block that of the same type that you hit. So that's gradients. And that'll do it for this one. See you in the next one.